I'm Rainbow, and welcome to Dimensional Walking. Today, I'm going to do an update for you guys. Remember when we had done a couple videos back, Michael and I said that we would do any special reports back to you guys if anything happened. And out here, because of where we moved to, we have definite, we're in the perfect spot for, I truly believe, cryptid activity. And actually, before we moved here, whenever we would come visit our family, we kind of felt that there was probably cryptids out here, and I think that there have been stories. And in most areas in Oregon, you're going to find that there's tons of stories around about Sasquatch, Dogman, and Mothman. I haven't heard anything about any other types of cryptids, but I'm sure, if we actually started talking to the neighbors and stuff, we probably would find out information on unusual things that happen. But in this particular case, I have been actually researching for many years about Dogman. I have had contact with Sasquatch, but I think that the Dogman is a little bit more, you have to be cautionary when you're dealing with him. And Michael and I did have our actual, the photograph that we took in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I believe you can see that on Truth Seeker Forum. So we took that photograph and we actually got that, and it was pretty amazing. But when you're living in an area where you believe that they are around, it's a different story when, like, if you go out into the woods and you're thinking, oh, well, maybe we'll, as a research group, you might hear or see something. But when you're living in an area where you're actually in the midst of where they probably are, then it's a little scarier and it's a little different. We actually had a couple sightings of the elk that come through here. And I believe that when you have big game like elk, deer, all of that, and I've seen deer as well, that you're going to have all kinds of predators. Now, if this area is an area where the cryptids they hunt, I don't think they are very concerned about where houses are, where fence posts are. They just don't care. They're going to be traveling around. And if somebody actually buys a house where their hunting ground is, that's just tough luck for the people. Now, I don't think that happened here, but what I think is that this area where we live is an area where they walk. Now, we have quite a few coyotes that come through here. And a couple nights ago, we had heard the coyotes, and they were extremely agitated to the point to where it wasn't like the typical howling that they do, or I call it yapping, because they tend to do a lot of yapping as far as I'm concerned, mixed in with the howling. And this was them talking, and there's usually about a group of, I would say, 5 that hang out together, and I think some of them are young, and they just go back and forth. And from what Michael, I understand, the pasture over by where we're at is the area that these coyotes go back and forth from. And so I think at this particular night, the coyotes, there was something else that was in their midst or close by to them that made them very nervous. So when Michael heard the coyotes, he also heard something else. He wasn't quite sure what it was. So I was on my computer. I had my earplugs in. He got my attention. I could hear the coyotes. And so probably about, I'd have to say 10 minutes after we heard them howl, I ended up stepping out just to kind of listen again to see what was going on, because Michael felt there was an extra sound that he wasn't familiar with. So I stepped outside the front door, looking out towards the pasture where the coyotes usually are howling from. And I heard a howl that was very different than the other than the coyotes. It was guttural, it was loud, it was something that was really intense, and it almost seemed a bit desperate. And that there were two howls, and unfortunately, I didn't get an audio of it. It's one of those moments when you don't expect it, and when you live in the area where you're doing your research, it makes it a little bit more scary. But these particular howls were the closest thing that I've heard that were not coyotes. It wasn't wolves. We don't have wolves out here. The way it was moving, it was bipedal, and the sound it made was between what I've heard actually when listening to audio of Dogman, but this was kind of, I'm trying to figure out, it was between a dogman and a werewolf sound. You know those old movies, or the movies where they have the werewolves howling and stuff, or people have stated that they've caught audio, and I've listened to that audio, and it's a very large animal. It's very you can tell the vocal cords are not the same as the coyotes, and that's what I heard. In fact, I got goosebumps, and I got totally freaked out, and I realized that this thing was on the other side of the pasture, walking, fortunately, away from where I was at. So I ran into the house, got Michael, had him come back, because we were trying to listen again, and it walked off. It was walking off in a direction on the other side, and it didn't make another sound. And there was a part of me that was really grateful that it didn't, but then there's another part of me that was disappointed that it didn't. So anyways, I was really concerned for our safety and everybody's safety that night, because what I heard was not coyotes. What I heard was something big, and it confirmed what I suspected about this area. It was that confirmation that I got that really scared me. It's a good confirmation, but then it's a very scary one, because this is where we live now. And so I thought I would just also play an audio of the coyotes and the yapping and stuff, so you can kind of see what we experience on almost, it seems like, a nightly basis. They when they come through, that this is the sounds that they make, and I have it on my phone, so hopefully this will come through. So I'm going to put it right up against the mic. Let's see here. Okay, so that was kind of how they just stopped howling, and which was very interesting too, because when they howl, they don't, they actually howl as they walk along the pasture. And it was really interesting because they just stopped howling. And I don't know if they were concerned about something, afraid of something, but it was about, and I said 10 minutes, but maybe it was less than that, because I'm so impatient that I actually had to get out there and listen to see if there's anything else within the howling sounds, because Michael had thought he had heard something that was not quite, that was in the mix of all the coyotes. And that's when I heard the two howls. And so now what we do, whenever we hear the coyotes, we go out and we record them, and just in case something else is traveling along with them, and who knows what we'll catch. If we catch what I heard, I will be excited. Sorry about that. But in a way, I think that I'm going to put that down there. I think what I'm going to do is panic, and then obviously we'll share it with you as soon as possible, because I know that you guys will want to know about what's going on with what we're catching out here. Now, this area is highly wooded. I don't know if that's the right phrase, highly wooded, but we have a ton of the Douglas fir trees all around us, big massive trees in the thicket. And there's a lot of areas here that, are clear. They're cleared land. But when you're up, like where we live, we can kind of walk up a hill and we can kind of look out and see all the trees. This area where we're at, the clearings is also areas where you can see perfectly the elk. So I'm hoping down the line, because we're going to be taking our cameras with us, I'm hoping down the line that we can actually then get a photograph of something. So that's just what today's all about. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't get another video out before then. I hope that this has been a good year for you guys. I hope that this coming year things calm down in the world and we have a more peaceful year next year. And I want you all to know that I am so grateful for you subscribing to our channel, and I wish you the best, and I'm so thankful and grateful for you. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.